Welcome to episode 2 of Diaries of a Dull Dad. Thank you very much for watching the first episode. Thank you very much for returning for the second one. And this one is going to be all about an update after the first week of the diet. So last week's was very much an introduction. It is very much a start point. This week, we've actually been dieting for a week. Already noticing hunger creeping in, which is good. Again, it is something I think people commonly expect to not feel. When we're dieting, if you think about what you're doing from a logical standpoint, you are intentionally giving your body less energy than it needs. Like, we're creating a calorie deficit. That deficit is being made up of your body using its body fat stores to convert to energy to provide you with what you need. So hunger is actually a good sensation. There are degrees of it. I wouldn't necessarily expect someone to be starving all the time, and I'm not. But I would expect there to be hunger creeping in as we're approaching the next meal. So hunger for me definitely ramping up. And if we look at these pictures, again, something else I think I just wanted to highlight is that you're not going to see massive changes on a week-to-week basis. Like you and me, like it hasn't taken you a few weeks to get to the point that you've been at that you want to change. It's taken months, potentially years to get to that point where you've decided, something needs to change. So to expect to see massive things happen in the space of a few weeks is a little bit unrealistic. And, I'm guilty of it to some extent as well. I think, I've had a big drop in calories. I've brought in cardio. The abs should be back already. And it just doesn't work that way. So having a little look at these pictures, you can probably see very little difference. I certainly don't notice massive amounts changing, but I've also started this at a slightly odd start point in that the week, potentially, 10 days, 2 weeks before I started the diet, I was a bit out of sorts. I've been ill. My training hadn't been very consistent. So actually what I've seen a drop on the scales of about 1.5 pounds, which is okay. It's about 1% of my body weight, and somewhere around about 1% of body weight per week is a pretty decent rate of loss as an average. I'm hoping it's going to move a bit quicker because I'm intentionally doing things a little bit more aggressively, but 1.5 pounds isn't too bad. So these pictures, you won't see massive amounts change, but I'm certainly feeling better. Like having the cardio in is giving me much more energy, knowing that the body weight is going to be coming down. I'm going to be feeling fitter. I just feel like a bit of a mood lift. And it's funny how that happens. The amount of times I've had clients say that even actually before they've started officially working with me, just the fact that they've made that commitment, they've said yes, instantly they feel better. It's like a big sense of relief, and they know that things are going to move in the right direction. And, I've felt some of that myself at the moment, just knowing I'm dieting, knowing I'm going to be in better shape. It's definitely helped to give me a little bit of a boost. So let's have a little bit of a recap of the week. I'm going to start with the massage. So yeah, I'll let me do the talking from a different location for this one. Just about to go get a massage. I will let you know the experience once I've been in. Massage done. Wasn't quite what I expected. I was probably hoping it was going to be a little bit rougher, maybe. Just a little bit more like deep tissue style. I didn't really know what to expect, to be honest. It was in a spa, so maybe I was a little bit wishful thinking to think it was going to be like a proper sort of deep tissue sports type massage. I think it was a Swedish massage, so you get the choppy hands and stuff come out. But very relaxing nonetheless. So I'm racing home now because Louis needs picking up from the childminder. But yeah, a nice relaxing experience, if not exactly what I was after. So there you go. I had a massage, first time in bloody ages. And yeah, it probably was a little bit lighter handed than I could have done with. I probably could have done with someone pushing a little bit harder and really getting into those knots. But it was nice. It was nice and relaxing. So I'm definitely glad that I had that done. I also said I was going to talk about the training split. So just to give you guys an understanding and an idea as to where I'm at, I'll go through some actual like training footage in another video in terms of actually breaking down my individual sessions, but just to give you a bit more of an overview as to what's happening at the moment. So I'm currently training 4 days per week, and as I mentioned last week, cardio is at 3 times 30 minutes. Those 4 workouts I'm doing are push, pull, legs, and then a delts and arms session on the end. Main reason for that, my delts and arms were areas that I really wanted to bring up. So that split has been in place now for about 6 or 7 months. Just really trying to get into the groove again. It's basically been in place since Louis was born. So knowing that I used to train 5 days a week, knowing that I was going to, probably struggle to get into the gym 5 days a week with a newborn baby, with all of the other commitments, I dropped that down to 4. And this was the 4-day split that we said was going to work. Looking at my physique, delts and arms needed more work. I've definitely seen them progress, and I've had other people comment on particularly that, that sort of top of the arm, shoulder area looking much, much bigger. And you don't carry massive amounts of body fat in those areas too. So actually those areas should stay, relatively speaking, fairly big, even as that body fat comes down. So that's been quite a nice thing to see. Legs for me have always been a relative strong point. So from a balance of physique point of view, my legs have always been pretty decent. So training them once a week has been enough for the past 6 months. I also find that my leg days really beat me up. Just one of those big sets of muscle groups, some big movements in there. And I tend to find that soreness lingers for me for anywhere between like 2 and 4 days. So the thought of, training them another day in the week, I think I would struggle to do that anyway at the moment. And even more so pushing into an aggressive deficit, recovery is going to be more compromised. So 4 sessions a week, push, pull, legs, and delts and arms is in there as well. As I say, I'll talk you through a little bit more in detail, like the exercise selections, sets and rep ranges, intensity levels, all of that good stuff we'll talk through in future videos. But there we have it from a training point of view. And then that really just leaves me to end this one by saying that this week has been slightly more challenging towards the end of it, in as much that I'm in single dad mode. Lara's had to go away for work, which doesn't happen too often, but it's happened at the moment. So yeah, me and Louis have had a bit of lad and dad time. He's been at the childminders, bless him, during the day, and absolutely loving life there. So it's only really the mornings and then the evenings and the nights, but definitely a bit of an experience. So just another of those things that have had to be worked around. The childminder was actually absent on Monday morning, so had to manage stuff a little bit better there and just make sure that everything was taken care of. And yeah, just continuing to work around those little challenges. So hopefully this has been another interesting watch. Any questions on anything that I have said, any feedback, any topics that you'd like me to cover in the future, please do give me a shout. If you've enjoyed it, like it, subscribe, share it with your friends. Really trying to push myself out of my comfort zone with these videos. And I think that the more of these that I can do, hopefully the more value I can give you guys, and it just lets you into a little bit more about my life as well, which fingers crossed is more interesting than the title of the series suggests, because despite the fact that I'm maybe giving myself a hard time, calling myself a dull dad, a little bit of that is a play on the fact that I am an ex-accountant, one of probably the perceived most boring professions in the world. So anyone wants to know any more about that, maybe I'll talk about that in a future one as well, like what sort of got me to this point, what's brought me to where I'm at in terms of being a coach, that pretty big career change from, successful finance career to coaching as I am now. We'll save that on for another video, but that's just a little bit of an insight into where that title has come from. So hope you're good, guys. Have an absolutely fantastic week. Thanks again for watching. Like it, subscribe, share it with as many people as possible. And let's try and grow this channel just as much as the team is growing.